Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Think Future. My name's Calabucas, and once again, we're coming at you live from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. We're talking innovation startups, the future, not necessarily those, and not necessarily in that order. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the alert. If you're listening on one of the myriad podcasting services, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it, or at least I appreciate it. Why am I saying we? There is no we. It is just me. So what I like to do, and I'm not sure if you like to do this, what I like to do is expand my horizons on things by reading things that have absolutely nothing to do with innovation, absolutely nothing to do with business, absolutely nothing to do with the future, absolutely nothing to do with startups. And by chance, I came across this book, and I think it was because I subscribed to some random mailing list called Seeing Like a State. Very interesting book, very interesting book. And it's all about how the state has attempted to create better things for their people. So it's gone in and said, oh, these people are living in terrible conditions, and we're going to come in and we're going to try and fix that. We're going to try and modernize it. We're going to try and improve it. We're going to try and do better. And there's some interesting, really, really interesting observations about states and how states try to improve the lot of the humans under their purview. And there's examples of Brasilia. There's examples that are architectural. There are examples that are having to do with forests, forest management. There are all sorts of examples. But the interesting distillation of all of this is that it appears that whenever a organization, whether it's a business or a state or an NGO or something like that, attempts to help human beings in whatever habitat they're in, they always seem to ruin it. And the argument that this gentleman has in putting together, I believe it's a gentleman, I'm assuming James's gender is male, that one of the things that befalls these programs is that for some reason all of these programs attempt to create some kind of organizational structure in order to give the humans the help that they need. They try to build a grid-based city, which is completely different from the city that they built themselves, that organically grew from the paths that they try to take. They try to put together farms that make it easier for the state to provide services, but in reality, they make it easier for the state to exact commissions and taxes and to allow people to be tracked and counted and fixed. And I thought to myself, this happens across the board everywhere. Whenever everyone sees chaos, people see chaos. Human beings and chaos. All these older cities, they appear to be so chaotic, with people going here and there, and all sorts of things not in a grid pattern, and people just going in all directions. And these things appear to be chaotic, but the reality is that there is some underlying logic to the way these things were designed. Their cities were designed around the societies within the cities, around the people's actual movement within cities. And then when urban planners and urban dwellers and people who come on down try to do some kind of a top-down organization, they always have these grand visions of what things should be like. And it all comes out of the vision. And it all comes out of the legibility, the ability to be able to see into this organizational structure and be able to count and be able to track and be able to understand and be able to move resources from place to place easily, because they can actually see what's going where. And in all these schemes that are described throughout the book, they've all failed. And they've all failed because they try to take the chaos of humanity and put it into the order of the organization. They try to lay the order over the chaos. And the laying the order over the chaos can sometimes lead to complete destruction of the production that they're trying to move. Murders, people being killed, people being displaced, people dying of famines, etc. It's horrible. These organizational structures, forcing people to move into them, have been, and at least through in this book, I don't know if there's been examples of successful. Well, I guess human beings are very flexible, so we can almost live in any kind of environment. So there must be some successful environments that they're not talking about in this book. But the reality is that every time we try to organize the chaos of humanity into some kind of organizational structure, it fails. And I see this pattern in customer service, in the business world, in organizations where the customer is here. This is what they want. This is what they need. But the business is over here, miles away. And they expect the customer to come to them. They expect the customer to jump through their hoops. They expect the customer to do all this work, all of these things that the business has put in place in order for it to make it easier for the business to deliver the services. Imagine it like this. Let's say you were trying to have an initiative to help the homeless, right? So one initiative would be to take the homeless wherever they are, round them up, shove them into tiny homes in a little community, because it's easier to give them food if they're all sitting in this small community. Do you think these people want to be in these small communities? No, some of them like being exactly where they are. So which system would you prefer? That we actually, if we wanted to feed the homeless, take the food to where the homeless are, or should we round them all up and put them in homeless communities? Which one do you prefer? Which one do you think will work better? Which one do you think will actually improve the lives of the homeless? Think about that. When we impose rigid organizational structures on the chaos which is humanity, are we helping them or are we hurting them?